Hello, foodies. Welcome back to my channel, Tasty Treats by Nikki, to the English series of my recipes. So, back again with another new recipe for you all. And before we start the recipe, I would request you all to please quickly go and subscribe to the channel. So, our today's recipe is a Pav Bhaji recipe. Yes, finally, I am sharing the Mumbai favorite street food, that is Pav Bhaji, and a very easy recipe but a very delicious one. So, firstly, we'll take a vessel, add in the vegetables for boiling. Now, vegetables that you use here are potatoes, carrot, cauliflower, and green peas. Now, while adding the vegetables here, I literally forgot to add in the green peas. So, what I did was I separately boiled them and then added them to the vegetable and then mashed them all together. So, vegetables have gone into the vessel. Next, we'll add water to it. Obviously, you have to boil it, so we'll add water to it. Now, while adding the water, you have to be very cautious about the level of the water. So, the level of the water should be only till the vegetables get dipped into the water, and the level should be only till the vegetables, not above the level of the vegetables. Don't add too much of water. After that, we'll add 1/4 tablespoon of salt and butter. Butter will give a very good texture, a very good taste to your pav bhaji when you add it while doing your vegetables. Now, when you're making pav bhaji cannot go without butter to it. So, we are going to add lots and lots of butter to this, and obviously, we are going to add other spices and other masalas to it, and this pav bhaji is going to be literally the best one, obviously, because you're making at your home. Secondly, you're not skipping any step, and this is going to be very delicious. Trust me, do try the recipe. Do not forget to share the video so that even others can try the recipe. So now we are going to let it boil, and you can see that the vegetables are nicely boiling and simmering now. I wish I could transfer the smell of the vegetables and butter coming out from this vessel through this video. But you can definitely experience this if you go and try the recipe. Covering it and cooking it, or you can say boiling it for more 5 to 10 minutes. And you see here the water is reduced a little. I've added the green peas that I separately boiled, and this is the perfect texture of the vegetables and the perfect level of the water that you need. Now, you're going to mash it in the same water, which is going to be called as the vegetable stock. So this is the best way to make the pav bhaji. This is the very best way, authentic way that you can make it. So you're going to smash everything nicely in the water itself, and you don't need to add any water further, extra water, or you don't even have to remove the water, like throw away the water from the vegetable. This is the perfect level of water that you need to have when you're smashing your pav bhaji ka bhaji. Okay, so this is how you make it, and you're going to make the best pav bhaji ever. So you saw, no water is to be seen, but the consistency of the vegetable is perfectly fine, and the correct consistency, I must say. You see that the water just vanished because you have smashed the vegetables, it's mixed with the vegetables, and my vegetables are also runny. They are not sticky, they are not in the position of taking the shape of the container. They are very runny and smooth. So this is how you make a perfect pav bhaji. After mashing everything, we'll keep this aside. Let's start the preparation of the actual masalas of the pav bhaji, the actual preparation of pav bhaji. The bhaji is done. Next, we are preparing the what you can say, the masala, the core of the pav bhaji. Then we'll go towards the pav. So once the kadhai or tawa, the best vessel to be taken is kadhai or a tawa. Then I've added here butter, 1 tablespoon of butter, 1 tablespoon of oil because so that the butter shouldn't burn. So I've added butter, I've added oil. Wait for the butter to melt and that's it. Once the butter is melted nicely, we proceed with the recipe and then we'll add the onions. So here I'm adding 3 to 4 medium size of onion which are very finely chopped. So I have not chopped them. I have just run them into that vegetable chopper, the processor that comes. It has to be very fine. It has to be very fine. And we are going to cook these onions only until they are translucent or transparent or whatever you call it. We don't want the onions to look golden color or golden brown color. We just want them to be a little pinkish and translucent in their texture. That's it. No more cooking of the onions. And now remember, once your butter is done, as soon as the onions will be done, we will lower down the flame to medium. Now it is on a high flame. Once the onions are done, we will lower down the flame on medium. So here this is the perfect consistency of the onions that you want. So the time is here to add the tomatoes. 4 to 5 large tomatoes I have added here. Again, I have finely chopped them, very finely. I have chopped them. I have not done them in the processor. I have chopped them very finely. Now we want the tomatoes to be done very nicely. Again, here I am adding green chilli, 3 to 4 medium size of green chilies finely chopped. The consistency or the texture of the tomato that we want is again to be very mashy. We are going to mash the tomatoes also once they are done properly. They are soft and smooth. So here I am adding ginger garlic paste, 2 tablespoons. If you want, you can also add finely chopped ginger and garlic, but then you will have to add it after you add the onions. Once the onions are done, you have to add it and let it cook for a while, and then you can add the tomatoes, because then if you adding finely chopped ginger and garlic, they will take a little more time to get cooked and release out the rawness. So that is why you'll have to add it a little earlier. But if you're adding the paste, you can just follow my instruction and just follow what I have done in the recipe. Now you can see the tomatoes are soft and nice. So now here it is that how you smash it or mash it. So this is the way you do it. Keep on stirring, keep on mashing, and this is a very simple process of doing it with any spatula or any spoon. And you will see that the tomatoes will be done very quickly. So the tomatoes are nicely done. I've mashed the tomatoes. Here I'm adding in salt for taste. Now when you're adding salt also, please be very careful, because we are already adding salted butter to it. Then we are going to add Pav Bhaji masala, which contains salt in it. Alright. So you have to be very careful with the quantity of the salt you add. So here again I have added 1 tablespoon of butter. Yes. we'll keep on adding butter in between intervals, because a pav bhaji is incomplete without a good quantity of butter to it. And trust me, this recipe was the best. I added a whole slab of 100 gram of butter to it, and also while doing the plating, and you won't believe, this was the best recipe. Once it was completed, entire house was smelling, it had the smell of pav bhaji in every corner of the room. Okay, so next I've added here capsicum, 3 to 4 medium size of capsicum that I finely chopped. Again, you have to cook the capsicum nicely and mash them as well, just like the tomatoes. We do not need to boil the capsicum because they are very, very soft. They cook very fast, so you don't need to boil it. You can just add it once the tomatoes are little done, and then you can complete the process of mashing them together. Adding in a little water so that the masala cook nicely and they don't stick to the bottom. Pav Bhaji's cooking process is a slow and steady cooking process, so you get a very good product in the end. Next goes in our spices. So first I'm adding in red chilli powder, 1.5 tablespoon. This is not a very spicy powder. It is mostly for color, the color that it will give to the recipe. Turmeric powder, half teaspoon. Remember, turmeric powder is half teaspoon and not tablespoon. Again, mix it nicely. So these are very basic masala. I have not added anything more or anything much. A very basic masala recipe. The actual taste or the actual flavor that you will get is from the vegetables, from the butter, and obviously from the pav bhaji masala that we'll be adding. Now we have to cover it and cook it for about 5 to 7 minutes on low flame. And you can see the vegetables that I've added here, that is the tomato, the onions and the capsicum, are nicely done. Again, just give it a little mix. The water is also a little bit absorbed that we added, and this is a very good texture of it. Mixing and everything is done. Now it's time to add the magic masala, the pav bhaji masala. So here I've added 3 tablespoons of pav bhaji masala. Now I'm not adding too much now because we again have to add it later on a little more. So you have to be very cautious and while adding your masala. Again, mix it nicely and properly. Let it cook, and you can see all the water has been absorbed now. There's no water, and the gravy of the pav bhaji is almost ready here. So now here I'm going to take out a little of these masala and keep it aside. For what? That you will come to know in the end of the video. So you have to wait for that. Now I'm adding in here tomato puree that I've made myself. 3 to 4 tablespoons of tomato puree I'm adding here. So I've made this puree out of 1 or 2 tomatoes. It is very simple and easy. You just have to add it to the grinder, process it under the grinder, and you have your own tomato puree. So this puree actually is being added here for the color. Yes, it will give a good color to the dish. So it is added for that. If you want, you can totally skip it and increase the quantity of your red chili powder if it is not a spicy one, but I wanted to add it, so I have added it. Now goes in the boiled mashed vegetables, and then we will mix it nicely and properly until everything is well combined. You see that vegetables and masala mixing is just amazing. This already looks so delicious and so tasty. Oh my god, I can't wait to have this. And the smell that comes out now is a perfect Pav Bhaji wala smell. If you enter at a point now when I'm cooking it, you will definitely feel like you're entering a hotel making a Pav Bhaji. So mix it nicely and properly. And you see, this is so delicious, and look at the texture of the vegetables. Nicely mixing is done, and again we are adding that pav bhaji masala, 1 tablespoon. I told you have to add it again. So here it is. At this point of time we are adding the masala, and now we are going to let the vegetables, let the pav bhaji cook a little more, because we have added it with the masalas now. So we want the flavors to enhance and mix up with everything. Okay. After mixing it nicely and gently, we are going to add a little water because we want it to cook a little more. So we are going to add in water so that the vegetable, the pav bhaji, does not stick to the bottom or does not burns out. And we will let it cook for about 5 to 10 minutes on medium flame. Look at that. Look at the consistency. The consistency of the pav bhaji should always be runny. It should not be thick. It should not be very watery, but it should be a running consistency, a runny one. And we'll keep little water also in it so that it actually looks like pav bhaji and not ragda patties ka ragda. So here it is done. Tasting. This is the point where you can taste your pav bhaji, that everything is perfect and correct. And I tasted it and I found that salt is still required, so I'm adding in here a little more salt. You also taste it and then you see if it requires or it doesn't. So this is the point you can adjust everything, because we are going to let it cook. So everything will be cooked and done properly. Look at that texture. Oh my god. So now here we have taken a fry pan and we are going to make something. So let's see what it is going to be. The fry pan is heating up now. Once it is heated, we'll add 1 tablespoon of butter to it. Yes, butter comes in again because as I told you, this is Pav Bhaji and this is not going to be completed without adding a lots of butter to it. Now next here I'm going to add, you remember in the middle of the recipe I took out this masala. So I'm adding that masala here. I'll just let it cook a little in the butter, the masala. Just a little mix and a little cook. And that's it, because this has already been cooked earlier. And then now here, now this is for actually for the last ingredient of the Pav Bhaji, the pav. Yes. We are going to secofy the pav here. We are going to make the pav here, masala pav for the Pav Bhaji. So we are just going to let it cook a little and then we'll fry the pav with this masala and have it with our pav, the bhaji, have it with the bhaji. So this is a very good technique of having a pav bhaji with this masala pav. I am so sure you're going to love it if you try the recipe. Don't forget to try the recipe. Do give it a try and also let me know in the comment section how did you like the recipe. How did it turn out for you when you tried the recipe? I'll be waiting for your comments and I'll also be waiting for you to subscribe to the channel. So do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Once the bread is done, pav, we'll not call it as bread because this is pav for Pav Bhaji. Let's stick to the recipe authentically. So once it is done, we will take it out and serve it hot with that hot buttery Pav Bhaji. Enjoy the video ahead. I know you're hungry now after watching this recipe and watching the outcome of the recipe. So quickly go and try the recipe, but don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon and like the video and share the video.